So, you've recently moved, bought and sold through Richard James.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how it went?
Yeah, so to be honest, the whole process was so easy. So from putting our flat on the market, sold within 10 days, which was really great.
So what month was that?
So we put it on, I think late September, early October, and then we'd accepted an offer within 10 days.
That's
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, that was really exciting. But we didn't even get a chance to start looking for like our new home, before like the offer was accepted. So got on that straight away. That was a little bit of a more challenging process.
Finding somewhere,
just because I think houses in Wroughton don't come up all that often.
Was that your number one location?
Yes.
That was the reason for the move?
That was, so we were in a 2-bed flat.
Yeah.
We knew we were never going to stay there forever. That was never our forever home. So it kind of got to the point where we were like, okay, well, we need more space and we want our family home. So we need to look elsewhere. And I always had my heart set on Wroughton. It's where we grew up.
Of course.
Wanted to go back to where kind of I was from and where my parents are and where my grandparents are. So yeah, that was the location we were looking for. But finding a house kind of within the price range and within like, we had a list of kind of non-negotiables that we wanted. So garden, 3-bed, somewhere that we could extend ideally and kind of grow into as like our family grows.
Very wise.
So yeah, that was kind of more challenging to find, but found it kind of within probably 5-6 weeks.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Especially that time of year.
Yeah.
That's not so bad. So what position were the buyers of the flat in? Were they first time buyers?
No, so they were cash buyers.
Okay.
So we had offers from I think 2 or 3 different people at the time. So it was cash buyers, mortgage buyers, and I think there was another mortgage buyer as well. But the cash buyer offer was slightly less, but we decided to take that just because it's an easier process.
Yeah, definitely.
That was kind of the steer that Richard James gave us. Jake was also really relentless in trying to find our house as well. Our new forever home.
Jake's really good.
So bless him, he really kind of kept texting me like, I'm still looking, don't worry, I'm still on it. So,
I know, because it's quite easy to get like really unmotivated, isn't it?
Yeah,
demotivated.
We kind of got to the point where we resigned ourselves to selling our flat and then moving in with my parents for however long it took. Because we just didn't want to settle.
No. And that's so easy to do that, isn't it? When you feel a bit of pressure to buy somewhere that maybe wasn't quite right.
And we were really lucky to be in that position. I appreciate people aren't always in that position. And my parents were like, you can just stay for as long as you need to. But we only ended up living there for 6 weeks.
Oh,
so,
that's not bad at
all.
all.
Really
so
easy.
You sold and completed on the flat. How did you find the process once you'd accepted the offer? And is there anything kind of that you weren't aware was going to come up, or anything that you had to do that you maybe didn't think you'd have to do?
So the process of selling the flat was probably more challenging than I would have expected, but that's just because of the nuances of selling a flat, I think.
Yeah, and the fact it's leasehold.
And the fact it's leasehold. So with a lease, it's just kind of more intricacies you have to go through, proving stuff, answering kind of lots of questions, evidencing certain things. So that was definitely more challenging than I thought it was going to be, but I did know a lot about the lease itself. So were you part of the management company? Yeah. So when we moved in, we found that there was a person who was moving out of the block of flats that was the managing agent, and in my opinion wasn't kind of running it to the standard it should have been. So I offered to take on kind of the managing
crazy woman
of the building, 2 buildings
just
actually.
in case you needed something else to do.
And it was kind of voluntary as well. So did that. So I was quite aware of kind of the pitfalls of selling a flat sometimes and the challenges that you can face. So having said that though, I do wish I was more prepared in terms of chasing the solicitors and not waiting on them to kind of do the searches and the queries, actually following up with them, being like, look, what's outstanding, what can I do to help? Because it wasn't really until probably 4, 5, 6 weeks into the process our buyers were getting twitchy because we hadn't got a date in the diary for exchange, and it was the point where I was like, well, what are the solicitors doing? They're like, well, we're chasing people and they're not really responding to us. And I'm like, oh, well, you should have told me, because I would have helped you chase, and like they might kind of, I can escalate it essentially. So one thing I have learned is kind of being more on top of solicitors. Because I wanted to think that I was their priority, but they've got so much work on.
Yeah, they did. And did you use someone who was local?
No, I can't remember who we used. But I don't think they were local, no. But and the sales progression team at Richard James was so good. Like Connie was my absolute star throughout the whole process.
Oh, that's good. Did you feel that you could sort of phone her and she was on board with what you were trying to do?
Yeah, and she was kind of pushing me and telling me what my next steps up were. She was chasing solicitors. She was kind of making sure I was clear on everything I had to do and what conversations I should be having with solicitors.
That's really good, because I think what's really difficult is people aren't always in a position to put the time in that you've obviously put in for when you sold. But it's really nice to have someone that's kind of as determined to get it through.
Yeah.
I think everybody is, but I think understanding the actual process is really difficult for people, and they don't quite understand the kind of contact that you need with the solicitors that's involved to try and get it to a fruitful completion.
And I thought I was quite well informed, like having read the lease, being part of the management company.
But it is another level, isn't it?
It's a whole another level of detail, and Connie was really helpful at like kind of breaking it down into layman's terms to help me understand and give like me a clear direction in terms of what I needed to do in order to get it through in a timely way.
Yeah, and I think what the message is like, for people that are considering buying flats, is sometimes they do take longer. Yeah. And sometimes most of the time, definitely there is more work involved, but they also do almost always go through, don't they?
Yeah.
It is fine. Yeah. You just got to be prepared to be a little bit more patient than you would otherwise.
Our flat. It was perfect for us for the kind of 5 years we were there. I wouldn't have changed it. It was our little first home. And
well, it must have been if you sold it in 10 days. That's really good.
Yeah.
I bet you were relieved. So did you look at any houses before it went under offer, or did you wait until you had an offer to start looking, or was there not anything for you to view? How did that kind of pan out?
We were looking from afar, so doing the whole right move, getting an idea of like what was what, how much we could afford, but we didn't really start solidly looking, and nothing was really on the market until we had an offer accepted anyway. So yeah, at that point, once we had an offer accepted, we started looking. I think we viewed 5 houses before we found our house that we're in now. So
all in Wroughton?
All in Wroughton.
And all the same sort of thing, or did you look at bungalows? Did you look at...
So we looked at cottages, terraces, semis, all kind of different varying shapes and sizes, so chalets or like the typical semis, or all sorts of different houses. And then we found our forever home, which is really lovely. I think it was kind of meant to be, because Jake called me on a Monday morning, was like, I found it, I've got it. I know this is your house. And it just happened to be that the previous sale had fallen through. For one reason or another, and it'd come back on the market that Monday, and we saw it in the afternoon, placed an offer and was accepted by close of play. So yeah,
that's so good. So you sold the flat, how long did that take to go through before you moved in with your parents?
So we moved in with my parents when we exchanged, so that would have been the week before Christmas we exchanged.
Oh, okay, so from September.
Yeah,
so that's not bad at all, really.
No.
And then you literally moved in, last week to Ayrshire?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
We sold our flat the first week of January. So we kind of moved in with my parents just for Christmas, just because it was easier.
And nice.
And nice to be back with my parents for Christmas.
Love that.
We sold our house the first week of January, and then we got the keys to our house the first week of Feb.
Yeah.
No, today's the first week of Feb, isn't it?
No,
this week?
Today's definitely the second week of Feb.
Yeah, so we got like the 27th of Jan or something like that.
It might be summer outside. I have no idea.
Between us selling and completing.
Yeah, that's not bad at all, is it? And I think having that, for people that can sell and move somewhere else that doesn't going to cost them an awful lot of money, so i.e. with family or with friends, if you can do it, that is something that I would recommend doing as well. Josh and I did it when we sold our house in Old Town before we bought the house that we're in now, and it kept our buyer on board, because she was an investor, so she was looking to rent it out, so she was happy. We knew, obviously we had Archie at the time, so moving back with my mum was an absolute delight for a few months, and then that was ready, and it just made all of that a little bit easier. And obviously not everyone's in that position, but if you can do it, I think it's a nice thing. Yeah, it takes a little bit of stress. You've got to move twice, arguably, but it does take a little bit of stress away. Yeah. And I suppose if you were going from a flat to a house, did you have that much stuff that you Oh,
babe, you should see how many boxes of clothes. Like, I've still not fully unpacked my boxes of clothes.
So what did you do with those? Take them to your mum's?
So we took some of the stuff to my parents, and then the rest of it we put into storage for a couple of weeks.
Okay, yeah, fine.
But yeah, I think we had a lot more stuff than
you anticipated.
We anticipated. That being said, though, we've got so much storage in the new house, we don't really know what to do with it. We're just like,
oh, you can't fill it.
No,
there you go, get filling.
Yeah.
That'll be full.
Yeah.
That will literally be full.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that. And now I open my downstairs cupboard and think, oh, I really wish I hadn't opened that. I started clearing stuff out after Christmas and I just had to stop.
It's
so I was
really
like, I need Stacey Solomon right now
I know,
just take this over.
I'd love to have one of those houses where everything's labelled and everything has a home.
So would I.
It's just like, I'm just going to stick all my pots and pans in that cupboard and then just hope for the best.
Yeah, we play just Jenga every day with our cupboards in the kitchen. It's like, do you open it or don't you? You need a saucepan, you might get a frying pan taken to the head. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen.
Cupboard
Who knows
bingo.
what it is? Yeah. It is like that. So, you were first-time buyers when you bought the flat.
Yeah.
Did you use the same person for your mortgage then that you used this time round?
No.
Did you use a new person this time round?
So for our mortgage the first time, we did it ourselves, kind of going out and looking kind of for deals and kind of the best rate and whatnot.
Yeah.
This time we used Ryan at Southwest Mortgages,
Yeah.
and to be honest, they're kind of incomparable experiences.
From doing it yourself to
From doing it
Ryan?
ourselves, from using Ryan. I would 100% use a broker every single time now. The service we got, the kind of value for money, his help kind of searching for the best rates, explaining everything, helping us with our life insurance, all of that.
Yeah, amazing.
I thought I knew. I worked in mortgages for a little while when I was a lot younger. I thought I knew I thought I knew it. Absolutely did not know like anything compared to what Ryan knows.
Ryan is exceptionally clued up, I would say, as well.
Yeah.
And that really helps, doesn't it? It's because it is such a big thing. Like when you get your first mortgage, I think for us, or for me, there was a bit of a different feeling. So like the first mortgage I got was really exciting. So I was a first time buyer. It was really reasonable because of what I was buying.
Yeah.
And like sometimes now I'm like, I wish I still had that mortgage and not this one. And then when you move house, I think it's a little bit more daunting when suddenly the repayments are very different. The fact you might be there longer than you were in the first place is very different. So I think that process for me personally was from being a first time buyer to a home mover was so different.
Yeah, especially at a time where mortgage rates were in flux as well. I
Yeah.
think we had the offer accepted on the house the week before the mini budget was announced. So
Yeah, that was
in the
fun.
space of kind of 2 or 3 weeks, mortgages went crazy. So having someone to almost anchor us and not panic and to steer us through that was so helpful and just such a relief.
Yeah, good. And did you have your mortgage offer through within like a reasonable time frame from having your offer accepted on the house?
Yeah, I think it took a month or so.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
good. Yeah.
So yeah, it was just because the mortgage
Everything was up and down, going wild.
Yeah, everyone was kind of switching their deal and whatnot. I think it
Yeah.
was a bit mad for a while, but yeah, it kind of went through really, really
Good.
easily.
And what we haven't talked about, so we've talked about Jake helped you with finding the house that you're in now. Ryan did really well with you guys and your mortgage. Selling, you used apartments, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Alice and Kelly.
Yeah.
And they were so helpful throughout. I was on the phone to Kelly all of the time, like talking about viewings and when we can get them booked in and the feedback from the viewings
And how did you find that process?
It was so easy, to be honest. Just gave them a key. We were out when the viewings happened, and it was just really, really smooth.
And feedback-wise, really, you got feedback, you understood what people were thinking?
Yeah. So it was really clear, like they were giving us feedback on actually it's not right for that person because of X, and it wasn't right for that person because of Y, but we ended up getting some really solid offers.
Yeah.
And kind of us guiding us through kind of what offer was best from their perspective. Obviously they can't make a decision for you, but informing me on kind of their view and make it so I'm able to make an informed decision.
I think because they work in flats, apartments and investments, they know from experience how easy it's going to be for you to get this through. And obviously not everyone's circumstance is the same. Somebody else might have had to take the best offer. But if you've got room to take less for an easier buyer, they're not saying that because they think you should take less. They're saying that because they know you want to move house.
Yeah. And on reflection, I'm so glad we went with a kind of cash buyer because we we didn't know what was going to happen with mortgage rates, and actually that could have quite easily turned into
something very different.
Yeah. So that we didn't know at the time, but actually on reflection, it was 100% the best thing to do.
Yeah, good. So not a bad move then, Am, really?
No,
you're not planning on doing it again though.
No, it's always more overwhelming than you think it's going to be, and you always go into a house or a home and you always see their little things, and it's always stuff that you don't expect, broken lights or that thing needs work or that thing needs work. But I have to say, getting a home buyer's report, I'd recommend it to anyone. Ryan kind of advised us to get one, and it was 100% worth the money. The surveyor picked up quite a few different things just for us to be aware of. Some of the things we went back to the seller and was like, actually, the windows are blown or the garage is leaking, so actually would you mind repairing them or kind of giving us the money towards some of that. And it was other stuff like we've got some asbestos flooring that kind of needs to stay there for the time being until we can get someone out to take it, and then the lock on the door is broken. One of the locks on the door is kind of loose as well, so we can replace that quite easily. And that's something we needed to go back to the sellers for.
But I suppose it's good to have a clear idea of like the other thing. It's very easy to walk into a house and love it, but you do need to know what you're dealing with, don't you? And the house you bought was built early 70s?
Yeah, I think early 70s.
Yeah, so I guess with a house of that age now, you'd expect maybe a couple of things to come up anyway, but having a clear idea of what's involved.
And it just meant there was no shocks. We weren't shocked by anything.
And I think also it helps you budget for the work that you want to do.
Exactly.
Because you know early what you've got to take into account or what you might need to prioritise over other things.
Yeah, exactly.
And that really helps, especially now, if you know what you're dealing with, doesn't it?
Yeah, gives us a very good foundation and a starting point.
Yeah. And then you can worry about soft furnishings and the fun part later.
Yeah, and argue about paint samples.
Have you already started doing that?
No, we might go to B&Q later. But my husband is obsessed with Pinterest.
Is he?
Always on Pinterest.
How funny! That's normally like a Mrs. thing, isn't it? A girl thing.
And he has got loads of ideas about how he wants to do the garden, and I'm like, babe, can we just start on the inside first and then work out?
Yeah, we left our garden till last as well. Yeah, because you're in all the time. Well, you're not in all the time, but when you get to the summer, you'll be dying to do the garden. But for now,
start on the inside.
Make Dan decide on a paint choice first. So what's the first thing you want to try and do in there?
So I think, we've got 3 stages to what we're calling our project.
Yeah.
So it's project livable. So I think we're there now. We've kind of fixed everything that needs to be fixed.
Yeah. That's good going.
Yeah. So it's just stuff like, we do have a leaky toilet. Actually, we do need to fix that.
That'll come. That'll be fine.
But kind of light switches, a garage leak, things like that we've all fixed.
Yeah.
The project, Make It Livable, is nearly completed. Next project is Project Make It Nice, and the third stage is Project Forever Home.
Yeah.
So we're on to the next phase, which is Project Make It Nice. So it'll be kind of just licks of paint and wallpaper and making it nice.
Yeah.
Making it a home. So when we do start having a family, then it's all settled and we don't have to do anything. And then the third phase will be Project Forever Home. So that's when we're thinking of knocking down walls or extending or things like that.
That's such a good plan. I think that's really nice, actually, because I think so many people, when they buy a house that needs work, are in such a rush to extend it that actually I always found it's so much easier to live in it and work out what spaces you use or where you'd really want more space before you start taking walls down and stuff.
And that's what we found the difference being between a first-time buyer and a second-time
home mover. Yeah.
So we bought the flat as first-time buyers, but we were both living with our parents at the time, so we didn't have a rush to move in. So we painted, furnished, did all of it before then moving in. And on reflection, I think you need to live somewhere to kind of better understand where you want things, how you want it decorated, the flow of the home.
Yeah.
So this time we were very adamant that we were moving in as soon as we can and living in it. To then
I think that's a great idea, because when you then do decide to knock walls down or extend whatever you might do, it will be exactly how you're going to use the space. And if you ever have to sell it or you decide to sell it in the future, you can almost guarantee that if you've lived in it and you've decided to make it like that, somebody else will absolutely love it as well.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, they will. It's Rawton at the end of the day, so you'll be fine at some point, won't you? Someone will buy it. Probably someone we went to school with.
Yeah, probably.
5 years younger than us or something like that. So that was really, really nice. Thank you so much. Can we quickly touch on YFP?
Yes.
And a quick explanation of what YFP is? Obviously, I know what it is, but other people might not. Where you are with it, what's the plan for this year?
Yep, so I run YFP, which is a female networking group in Swindon. So we do monthly meetups on kind of various different topics. We've kind of worked on a couple before.
Yeah.
We've done kind of house buying and what was the other one? Parenting as well. Like
yeah,
kind of getting
mum stuff.
Mum stuff.
Raw mum stuff.
Yeah.
That men don't want to hear about. Maybe my mum doesn't want to hear about it either, but there you go.
Well, I think it was very refreshing for people to hear and know that they were in the same boat too. But yeah, we've done loads of different kind of various meetups, social media, lots of different ones. So it's for people to come along and meet like-minded people, to expand their network, come for a drink, have a bit of fun, and just really collaborate and kind of share and learn. So yeah, you can dip in and out as you like. You don't have to come to every month, just the ones that kind of appeal to you the most. So for this year, we're planning some really exciting stuff. So planning on some International Women's Day bits next month.
Nice.
And then I've got loads of collaborations for the rest of the year as well, so it's really exciting.
I think the nice thing about it, obviously I've been to a few, but it's just no one really, like, there's no like judgment. You don't walk in there and think, oh, am I going to be sat alone the whole time, or is somebody going to come and sit with me? It's a really like open space where people just talk about everything and anything, and I got to know loads of people from coming to those other like mums. I remember the first one that you did, was it Jess Page?
Jess,
the first one. I ended up sitting next to a girl that lives at the end of my street, Hannah Thomas.
Oh yes.
And on the other side was Hannah Webb,
who
had 2 kids 13 months apart, a bit like I had Archie and Sunny. And I was just like, yeah, there are literally other people just like you that don't care who you are, what you do, where you've come from. It's just so good. It's really, really, really good. Oh, it's such a nice space for people to go. Even those, I remember one week, one month, she turned up. She lived in Bassett. She moved to Bassett for her job. She didn't know anyone, and she just walked in. She was sat at our table chatting away, like, didn't care.
It's really nice just to be able to bring women together, because actually I find once you're in your kind of mid-20s, 30s, and we've had people kind of through, it's not just for young women, it's for
anyone can come. Yeah, we've had a few mums in, haven't we?
Yeah, a few mums. So it's just really nice to be able to bring people together and kind of allow women to meet each other at a later age. Because I think as you grow up, you kind of meet your friends at school, they move away. I found myself where my best friends now live in London, and I've got my best friend in Swindon, but she's got 2 kids, so actually it's kind of, I'm not in that position, so
yeah, it's different, isn't it?
So I just wanted to kind of meet more like-minded people, and it was really nice to be able to bring people together. It's really nice to see people coming on their own as well.
Yeah, I think that's so nice. That's a massive thing these days, isn't it?
Yeah, so many women come on their own, and I get DMs all of the time. It's like, oh, I don't really know if I can do it, and I'm really nervous. And don't worry, the group's so lovely. You'll meet some really lovely like-minded people.
Absolutely.
And there's lots of people that come on their own.
Yeah, I think it's so good, and there's not really anything else like it. It's such a kind thing for you to do, for just to bring people together. There are no other benefits to you at all. It's literally just to try and, bring something better to maybe people who, like you said, friends have moved away, they've had kids before others, so their lives are completely different to the people they were friends with before. It is really good. So when is the next one? Do you have a next meetup date?
So I'm going to announce the next details soon. So I'm hoping to do speed friending. So I was planned it for last year, but I unfortunately got COVID, which was a bit of a gutter. But yeah, planning to do speed friending. So bringing people together and kind of helping people meet people that they wouldn't have normally have met.
Well, maybe next time we can get a few YFP people on here to talk about something.
That would be
good. Do a YFP live. Yeah. You never know. That might be an idea.
Great idea. Write that down in my notes.
Well, thanks so much. So look out for YFP. The Instagram is
at YFP Swindon.
Anywhere else? It's on LinkedIn, isn't it?
LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram for the time being.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, babe.